Now, as you can see, CD Projekt Red is switching from the Red Engine to the Unreal Engine. You have Konami using Unreal Engine instead of their in-house engine. Halo Studios is doing as well, and rumors are that Bethesda is also switching to the Unreal Engine. So the question is, like, what's happening? And some people were saying, well, it's DEI, it's the diversity, inclusivity, and equity religion. And immediately you have people on Twitter going, it's like, oh, your brain is on DEI. Like, DEI cannot be criticized. It never does anything wrong. In fact, it's not even that big of a deal. It's just like something there that's good for companies to have, but like it does no damage. You know, like you guys, you're grifters. You're part of the culture war. Everything about you is DEI. So I actually asked people, you know, like this is what you can do. You can reach out to people that are working at these AAA companies, middle management. I know a couple of people that are close to upper management, but I generally did ask them, right? And I wanted to know, like, what is going on. And they gave me, like, plenty of reasons on why many of these studios are switching engines. And I did ask, okay, so, like, is there anything to do with DEI? And they basically said yes. Yeah, like, they would say, like, 40 to 50% of it was due to DEI. And one of the people that worked at Blizzard explained it to me in a way that I think I can explain it to you and you would get what's happening. So, a lot of these old game developers that have a lot of experience under their belt, I want you to imagine how it was like when they started programming. They basically did it because it was fun. It wasn't like a job that would guarantee they would make hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, you got like some guys that in the 90s or early 2000s were genuinely passionate about gaming and gaming culture. And they got into these industries in order to have fun and possibly make a product that they enjoyed playing. And hopefully other people would enjoy as well. And this was like the mindset that existed at Blizzard and Bethesda and many of these other companies. And this mindset got us some of the best games that pretty much made our childhood great. Unfortunately, however, as time moves on, you have the diversity hiring. Now, the diversity hiring isn't the problem itself. It's the fact that you need a diversity officer. You need to change the entire corporate culture around this shit. So all of a sudden, you're not allowed to make jokes. All of a sudden, you get summoned to these corporate retreats that lecture you about white privilege and about cisgender heteronormative and why you're a piece of shit because you're a man. And then you have to deal with all sorts of colleagues that aren't as good as you, but they're incredibly arrogant, and they know that just because they got in there with the idea of filling a quota, they can't be kicked out because then they can file a lawsuit. So you gotta tiptoe around them. And they bring all this political correctness nonsense and they tell you how you can talk and how you can address other people. And now you have like this other individual that looks androgynous and their hair is colored in different ways and they have like different pronouns every day. And you know that if you make a mistake, they will report it to HR and get fired. So basically like the original developers that went in there because it was fun to make video games, they realized that all of a sudden it's not fun. You know, all of a sudden you have like this corporate culture that's incredibly hostile to fun. It's incredibly sanitized and, you know, the companies are also now much bigger and you can't just make changes off the cuff and have your own ideas. Like if you just want to change a line of code, you gotta get it through like 10 people that will approve it and rubber stamp it. And usually those 10 people are even dumber and more retarded than you are, right? So like all these old game developers that have made a lot of money, they made hundreds of thousands of dollars, they don't need to put up with this shit. They don't need to put up with this shit so they can just retire. You know, they can just make their own indie projects or they can make YouTube channels or they can do anything else besides to put up with the horseshit. So you have like all these old game developers that are leaving and now you have the in-house engine. Well, the problem with the in-house engine is that someone has to teach you how to use it. It may not be very difficult, but, you know, it may have its quirks, it may have its the different things. It's not something that you can actually learn online most of the time. So, if all the old developers, or most of them, are quitting, like, who's going to teach the new guys, the diversity hires, who's going to teach them how to use the in-house engine? So, what these studios are doing is like, okay, well, Obviously, using our own in-house engine has advantages because we don't have to follow any terms of service. It's cheaper, it's ours, we can make modifications. But at the end of the day, like, all these diversity hires that are coming, like, they do not know how to use our in-house engine, and there's no one to train them. So it's a lot easier if we just switch to something like the Unreal Engine. And basically, this is pretty much what's happening. Now, the problem with this is that, again, the industry is becoming centralized. And as we got to see, like, many of these engines can have various terms of service. So, for instance, if the Unreal Engine says, okay, well, on new terms of service, we do not allow games that have any portrayals of sexism in them, right? All of a sudden, you can have games like GTA, where you have, like, the hookers and all of that, you know, whatever their definition of sexism is, well, now you can't have it in the game. Or if they were to say, yeah, we just want to harvest data from your customers, so we want to measure how many installs there are. So if you're using the Unreal Engine, you may get like a little bit of a spyware on your PC that harvests data and information from your hardware in order to give it to Unreal. And then Unreal can sell it to third parties. I'm not saying they're doing it, but like there would be nothing stopping them. And it wouldn't be illegal or anything. You just have to agree to the TOS, and if all the AAA gaming companies are using the Unreal Engine, because as we get to see, it's CD Projekt Red, Konami, Halo, and many others, well, what are you going to do? It's either you're going to choose not to play games, or you're going to have to choose to put up with it. So this is pretty much what's happening. And again, it's not a good thing that we're getting more centralization. In a way, it would be good because, like, yeah, I mean, everyone can learn at home how to use the Unreal Engine, and when they start the job, they already know everything, and they have, like, forums for troubleshooting and stuff. But from a consumer point of view, it's never good when everything gets centralized like this. So, yeah, I genuinely think that we're moving to a time where the internet becomes more and more centralized, and when it comes to gaming, the engines themselves are going to have a lot of sway. Like, they are going to be able to influence the culture in gaming. And again, imagine if Unreal says, yeah, we don't want a game that sexualizes women. I mean, they can, right? Like, it would be part of the TOS, and all of a sudden, all the Night Elves and the Draenei, you know, they would have to be covered up, made more masculine, etc., etc. Again, I'm not saying it's happening now, but I generally don't see what would prevent it from happening. Because what I noticed with a lot of these companies, they're really nice when there's competition. I mean, think about Patreon, think about Twitter. Like, Twitter used to be the free speech platform, and they were championing that, and you can even say the N-word and nothing would happen. And it's the same with Patreon. But the moment they started getting monopoly in the market, the moment they had no more competition, all of a sudden they're like, well, we need trust and safety councils, and we need to decide who gets to use the platform and who doesn't. They become cheeky little shits. So this is what I don't like about this. I genuinely do not enjoy the fact that everything is becoming centralized, but, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the times. So let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.